Assalamu alaikum and very good morning all students. I hope that you all are fit and healthy at your home. So let's start with subject English class 7. We have already completed unit 1, 2 and 3. Still unit 4 and 5 left, but today we'll see unit 6 because it's important for the exam. So first we'll see Unit 6, Expert Detectives, which is written by Sharda Dwivedi. And we will see afterwards Unit 4 and 5. So let's start our Unit 6, Expert Detectives. So before start our lesson, Expert Detectives, we'll see a little introduction of this lesson. Nishad, a boy of 7, also called 7 because his name means the 7th note on the musical scale, and his 10-year-old sister Maya are very curious about one Mr. Nath. So here we can say that Nishad, who's 7-year-old boy, who's also known as 7, because the meaning of Nishad is also like the musical note, 7th note on the musical scale. We know that there is like sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, shad. Nishad, so is a 7-number note in the musical scale. That's why this boy is also known as 7. And his 10-year-old sister Maya are very curious about one Mr. Nath. And both brother and sister, Maya, who's a 10-year-old sister, these both brother and sister are very curious about Mr. Nath. Then one day, the children's marble rolls into Mr. Nath's room and Nishad gets a chance to see him. Now, maybe the person who's just live inside the room only. But one day they got a chance, and especially Nishad got chance when his marble rolls into Mr. Nath's room. Is he a crook on the run? Why is his face badly scarred? Why has he no friends? And this question arises in the minds of children, that he's really a crook, he's really a criminal who just run from the police. Why is his face badly scarred? Why has he no friends? Nishad's mother, a doctor, knows Mr. Nath as a patient who is very polite. And according to their mother, who's a doctor, then Mr. Nath is a very polite person. So here both brother and sister are very curious to know about Mr. Nath, and they are thinking that Mr. Nath is a crook. So let's see now in the lesson that Mr. Nath is really crook and what both brother and sister are doing to get this answer. Expert detectives. Expert means a person who is very knowledgeable about or skillful in a particular area. And what's the meaning of detectives? Detectives means a person whose occupation is to investigate and to solve crime. Now part 1. As we walked back towards the clinic, 7 said, "He doesn't look anything like a monster." Maya. We have seen in the introduction that Maya and Nishad's mother is doctor. So here, as we walked back towards the clinic, 7 said. Here as we means 7, means Nishad, and Maya walked back towards the clinic. Clinic means small hospital of their mother. He doesn't look anything like a monster, Maya. 7 told Maya that he doesn't look anything. He means Mr. Nath. Mr. Nath doesn't look anything like a monster. Monster means like a devil, like a Rakshas, demon. But did you see how thin he is? And what is Nishad say? Did you see how thin he is? The person is very thin. Maybe he's very poor and can't afford to eat. And according to Nishad, that he just imagined that the person is very thin maybe because he hasn't money to buy food. He can't be poor if he's a crook on the run, I told him. But what Maya told him, what Maya told Nishad, he can't be poor if he's a crook on the run. She said that he cannot be a poor person if he's a criminal who just escaped from the police. He just run after doing crime. He just run from the police and he's a criminal, so he's not a poor person. He's probably got millions of rupees stashed away somewhere in that room. And Maya said that probably he had millions of rupees stashed away. Stashed means hidden away, which is already given in your textbook. Stashed away means hidden away inside his room. Do you really think he's a criminal, Maya? Now look at here. 7 is thinking different and Maya's opinion is different. Maya is saying continuously that he's a crook on the run, he's a criminal. So here Nisha asking her, do you really think he's a criminal, Maya? He doesn't look like one. Nisha looked doubtful. In a doubtful way, Nisha told Maya that you're really thinking that he's a criminal? He's not looking like a criminal person. Of course he's 7, I said, and he certainly isn't starving. Mr. Mehta told us that Ramesh brings his meals up from the restaurant downstairs. Of course, he's 7, and Maya told him that of course he's a criminal. I said, and he certainly isn't starving. And what Maya told that the person is not starving. Is not starving. Starving means that die without food or of hunger. The person is not hungry. He's eating some food. Mr. Mehta told us that Ramesh brings his meals up from the restaurant downstairs. Now another character include Mr. Mehta and Ramesh. That Mr. Mehta told us that Ramesh brings his meals up. Up means in his room from the restaurant downstairs. So maybe in downstairs one restaurant there. So Ramesh, maybe he's a waiter or he's doing work in the restaurant who is bringing everyday meal for Mr. Nath. So he's not starving. This explanation is given by Maya to Nisha, to 7. Now let's move to the next page. But Maya, Mr. Mehta told us he doesn't work anywhere. So how can he possibly have money to pay for food? Nishad said. When Maya said many things that he's not starving, Ramesh gave food every day to him. That time, Nishad said to Maya that, but Maya, Mr. Mehta told us he doesn't work anywhere. Means he's not doing any job. He's not going for a job anywhere. So how can he possibly have money to pay for food? So how can he probably have money to pay for food. He hasn't money because he's not going for a job, so how he can pay money for the food? Exactly, I exclaimed. He must have lots of money hidden somewhere. Maybe in that trunk in his room. It's probably full of silver and gold and jewels and... What rubbish! Nishad interrupted. When Nishad told Maya that he's not going for a job, so how he can pay money for food? That time, Maya got more idea. And what she said exactly? Exactly means absolutely means she also wants to say this only, that he's not going for a job, so how he can pay money for food? I exclaimed. He must have lots of money hidden somewhere. Maybe in that trunk in his room. It's probably full of silver and gold and jewels and... So here Maya got more idea that this only I want to say that he's not going for a job, but he has lots of money which is stashed away, which is hidden away inside one trunk in one cupboard in his room, and this trunk is full of silver, gold and jewels and etc. Means here Maya's sentence is not over and Nisha immediately interrupted. Interrupted means hindering, means बीच में बोलना. Nishad said immediately, what rubbish, means what nonsense continuously you are speaking. Means Nishad not want to listen these all things related, Mr. Nath. I know I'm right, stupid, I told him. And here when Nishad interrupted her, so she's maybe become angry. And she also said this, I know I'm right, that whatever I'm telling you, it's correct only related Mr. Nath. By the way, 7, did you see his scars? I couldn't. It was too dark. But I bet he got them during a shootout with the police or something. And after, in the introduction, we have seen that they got chance, and especially Nishad got chance when his marble rolled inside his room to see Mr. Nath. So that's why here Maya asking him that, did you see his scars? Scars means marks, some spots happen on his face. I couldn't. And what Nishad say? 7 say, I could not because it was too dark inside. But I bet he got them during a shootout with the police or something. Bet means to risk money on a race or an event by trying to predict the result. He got them during a shootout with the police or something. Means I say very surely that during a shootout with the police or something, he got these scars. Mummy told us quite clearly they were burn scars, Nishad said firmly. And very firmly, or you can say very confidently, Nishad said that it's nothing like this. Mummy told already that quite clearly that they were burn scars. Mark of burning means something burn and this happened. Maybe he also got this injury and that's why he got these marks on his face, Nishad said firmly. So here look at the, you can say that opposite idea of both brother and sister. Maya, who's continuously blaming Mr. Nath that he got this scar because he ran from the police and because of this happened. It's a exchange of fire, means shootout. But Nishad not agree, and very confidently he is giving answer to Maya. There is a burning scars, and which already told by mother only. So both brother and sister are continuously discussing and giving opposite idea about Mr. Nath. Now look at the next. Perhaps the police had to set his house on fire to force him out, I suggested. 7 looked unsure. I suggested means Maya advised that perhaps the police had to set his house on fire. Maybe police only arranged this fire outside of his house because force him to come outside. Maybe the person means Mr. Nath who hidden himself inside the house and police forced him to come outside. That's why police only arranged this fire outside his house. 7 looked unsure and 7 was shocked. Maybe after listening this thinking of Maya, and he was unsure, he was not certain that whatever she is speaking is correct only. Now look at students. Here both brother and sister are continuously giving opposite idea related Mr. Nath. Both are very curious, very excited to know about Mr. Nath, who is that person. But both are giving different ideas related Mr. Nath. Now in the next video we'll see another thoughts and ideas related Mr. Nath of these 7 and Nishad. Till that you have to read this lesson, try to understand it, and if you have any doubts related to this video, you can write in the comment box. Thank you. Have a nice day.